Welcome to the Politics of Development podcast. Today we'll be talking about party politics. How do you navigate party politics? To be honest, party politics can be very complex, and it feels like it's a test of the real politics you want to get into. It's full of intrigues, sort of games. Parties some have very strong structures, very strong players, and there's only one prize a lot of times, and everybody wants that same prize, whether it's the elective seat or even the party seats. So internal party politics can be complex, and you need to learn how to navigate it and gain the support within your party. And that is an important part of what we'll be discussing about today. I guess the first question people usually would ask me is, how do you even select your political party? Now, for me, I had a bit of a straightforward situation because I was appointed into office before I joined the parties. But in terms of those that are not yet in the structure, they may want to take their time and understand the different parties that exist, also bearing in mind what their eventual goal of joining political parties are. Ideally, parties are supposed to represent ideologies, like you say in the Western world, where you have the Democrats and the Republicans, or the Conservatives and the Labour, and immediately you hear of the party, you could tell what they stand for. It's not quite so in Nigeria and perhaps many other African countries, and this is where party reforms must occur if we're good to go forward. But nonetheless, you have to understand that your values should align with the political party. You should know very clearly what you stand for and how you can align with the parties that actually do exactly the same thing. So getting a party is the first step. Joining a political party is the first step, and you want to make sure that you join a party that will be the right platform to take you to where you want to go to. Now, there are certain challenges that you would face when you want to navigate party politics. We'll just list a few of them, and then we'll talk about the solutions thereafter. The first challenges that a lot of people have spoken to me about at different times is, how do you balance your personal beliefs with party ideology? As I said, this is always fundamental because it speaks to who you are and the party that you want to be associated with. The challenge is that many people don't know what party ideologies are there. They don't know how it aligns with theirs, or the personal views, their personal values. They just can't tie together. And so all through their time in the party, they tend to struggle. Better still, they just join political parties for no ideology and use them strictly as election platforms. Obviously, this isn't the ideal situation. You have to understand that when you want to pick a party, there should be areas of alignment. If you're picking a democratic or what you call a more socialist party, you need to understand the type of views that is going to be supported by such a party. And if you take a Republican or a conservative viewpoint, then it also has expected types of views you would have. So you need to identify the areas of alignment and ensure that you can align. Now, in the situation where you don't have that clear ideologies, then you want to look at where you have people that you can relate with that represent those same values. Now, it is important to state that parties, particularly in Africa, seem to just be a gathering of people using the party for a particular purpose. Again, a lot of party reforms need to be done, and that way we can start to help navigate the differences between the different parties. But what is key, and what I usually advise, is that whatever party you join, you must be comfortable enough and assertive enough to maintain your core values. You must never lose yourself in the party you're in, because once you've lost yourself, you've lost the entire your entire being, as it were. The second challenge a lot of people face is, how do we navigate the hierarchy? How do we navigate the bureaucracy in the parties? Parties have different structures. You have to understand how they operate, how they function. You have to understand that you must effectively engage with the party organization in a way that it will be for your favor. The second challenge a lot of people face is how do they navigate the party hierarchy and bureaucracy, particularly when the lines are all sometimes blurred. How does the party structure and hierarchy, how do they function? What do you understand the organizational structure? Do you know who the key decision makers and influencers are within the party? Sometimes they're not the people you think they are. Sometimes they are behind the structures. And it's important for a young aspiring politician to understand that these different lines exist, and it will do you well to learn the informal and formal rules of the party. It goes without saying you must build relationships. You must offer value. You must be resourceful. You must be the sort of person the older class wants to relate with. They must find you as resourceful, as someone that brings something to the party. Eventually, most people that have been in parties for a long time understand that they have to build a younger generation, and they're always seeking what I have in different podcasts in the time called God children. They're always looking for God children that they will raise and help to climb the ladder. But it's important that you are seen as resourceful, as someone that is visible, as someone that is valuable, and someone that will add to the system. So without a doubt, you want to seek political mentorship. When you're seeking political mentorship, in addition to understanding the power they might hold within the party, you should also understand the sort of character they possess and the sort of values they have. So political mentorship, absolutely important in your journey in navigating the hierarchical system within the party. So seek mentorship from experienced party elders, party members, so that you understand the different lines that are operating within the party. You must understand the pathways to influence. You must understand the dynamics of the party. Sometimes, and in a lot of cases, parties have caucuses, they have groups, they have different structures, and because with the party itself is a test run of how many other political setups are, whether it's the parliament or the executive. The party is a good grooming ground. So that is a good place to learn the dynamics, learn the influence, understand how to form those alliances that would help you. And remember, these are key decisions you're making, because if you align with, if you like, the wrong caucus per time, it might affect your political journey. So you want to ensure that you have a very broad approach, a very, extensive reach network-wise, so that you're not disadvantaged. Another challenge a lot of people face is managing the internal fractions and the conflicts. And the honest truth is that because we're talking about power play, there will be internal dynamics, there will be power structures, and you must learn how to deal with the different fractions and the internal power struggles that operate within the parties. What are these formal structures? What are the informal structures? Who holds these powers? How is this power being distributed? What are the different strategies that you must use to manage these conflicts and rivalry within the party? You must understand, especially because I recall when I was campaigning, like I said in the previous podcast, there were different power groups. And what I discovered very quickly was that taking sides with any one of them was going to be detrimental to my cause. So I understood, first of all, what their interests were. And most times it was the power they were seeking. And I willingly, negotiated with them in return for their support, everything they needed. I was able to identify with the different fractions. Sometimes some are not willing to negotiate, and in which case there's not much you can do. You will stay with those that are ready to, and you build a coalition with them. You build a strong support group with them. And I think that is extremely important in your journey. So as much as possible, try to work with as many people, build consensus. However, where that is not possible, build consensus with a larger majority, because politics always has a majority feel to it. I think you should also develop conflict resolution skills. If necessary, invest in a course, take a training, develop your skills in conflict resolution, understand how conflict comes, understand how to identify the interest, understand how to unify the different groups that may be going through this conflict. And if you can successfully do that, you get a level of power from being the peacemaker that is able to bring the different groups together. You have what we call convening power because the different groups listen to you. So you have to continuously understand the dynamics within the parties, understand the trends, stay informed, and stay resourceful so that the different sides can work with you. Some would say, well, you want to stay on one side and to the detriment of another. That has its disadvantages because you might be on the other side for a very long time. The fourth challenge I see a lot of young people having is building and maintaining alliances. The party is so complex, you know. How can you build one alliance? Or how can you build an alliance and network? Be considering the interests are so dynamic and they're always moving. How do you form and sustain these strategies? Who are your potential allies? How do you build these relationships? How do you ensure that you're working towards the same goals? These are real issues that people face because, again, like I said, it's a competition of some sorts. It's adversarial, it's competitive, but you must engage in regular networking. You must attend party events, participate in the different gatherings, social gatherings, in you know, being in meetings that you have to be. Support your allies, support their initiatives, let them know they can count on you, and build trust through your consistent actions. You know, as I said, during the campaign for me, I tried to have a consensus with as many people as possible, and I did get that with a majority, even though to a large extent there were some that were not willing to form an alliance, which is okay. But when you're trying to win an election, you want to make sure you have as many people as you can on the group. But what is key is that you understand the interests and what everybody wants on the table so that you're not promising two persons exactly the same thing. You're able to negotiate, you're able to navigate between the different interests and, if you like, sit in a position, have a presence in the room that everybody feels comfortable enough with. Everybody feels a sense of, even though I don't speak to A, but I can work with him. He has the loyalty that I expect him to have. He has the mindset and the structure that I expect him to have. And I think that is key. I think another problem a lot of people have in parties is how do you, you're talking about building alliances and structures. How do you even balance how do you ensure you don't get lost within all of these party expectations? You're trying to be with this person and be with this person, and you're trying to make sure you bring everybody together. It can feel very complex, but you must, like I said at the start, have your very strong values, your very strong goals, find out how they align with the party, and ensure you do not lose yourself in the process. Yes, you might have to compromise in certain situations. You might have to, play with the caucus that you naturally would not have thought you would want to. But sometimes, for the bigger goal, people enter into these networks, into these alliances for the aim of achieving a common goal. So you must learn in the middle of everything to keep your integrity, keep your values, keep all that is important to you. Develop strong communication skills, strong interpersonal skills, understand interests, understand motives, understand the stakeholders, and ensure that you're able to tailor your message to the different groups in ways whereby they can feel comfortable with you and work with you. I hope this certainly helps you as you start to think about navigating party politics. Certainly much more that we will take in our course at the Institute, but I hope that this has been able to help you shed some light into navigating the very, very complex web of party politics. I hope this helps. Until we see again, stay blessed, stay well.